In today's segment of Dribble It Out, we'll be talking about 2 agreements that stood out to me from free agents. Now let's get started. Let's kick things off with CP3 Chris Paul that agreed to a massive 4-year, $160 million contract. Now this is huge for the Houston Rockets, as Chris Paul led them to a franchise record 65-win, 17-loss season and a 3-2 lead over the Golden State Warriors right before he injured his little hamstring, and went down in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. This injury, to me personally, saved the Warriors, as the Rockets had them on the ropes. And to me, had Chris Paul not gone down, we would have had a Rockets versus Cavs NBA Finals. Unfortunate for them, Chris Paul went down, and the rest is history. Now, Chris Paul and James Harden had remarkable chemistry that had many experts wondering, how is Chris Paul and James Harden, both ball-dominant guys, gonna work together? Like, nobody could figure it out, yet Coach D'Antoni worked out an exceptional formula that exploited and brought out the best out of both players individually and as a team, bringing this great season where they won 65 games. And it's clear that it worked, the performance showed, and I can only expect this chemistry to continue to build and get better in the next season. Not sure if they're gonna get the 65 wins, but I do expect them to get better. And we'll also have to see what pieces they add now that Trevor Ariza, for some odd reason, went to the Suns, which I'm probably sure it's for the money. But based on other moves that the Rockets make over the summer, they could also continue to be a really great elite team that could get close to 60+ wins. If not, surpass them. So I think this is a great opportunity for Chris Paul and the Rockets to continue to stay relevant and challenge the Warriors. My only concern is, can Chris Paul stay out of injury? Unfortunately, he had several games where he missed last season due to knee injuries, including the last 2 games of the Western Conference Finals where he goes down with the hamstring injury. So if he stays healthy and they continue to build an elite team, they would be another threat and contender against the Warriors. Now, continuing to talk about Pauls, we got Paul George, who agreed with a 4-year, $137 million contract with the OKC Thunder. Now, many had this rumor and this idea that finally Paul George would play with the Lakers, since that's been his dream and he's been vocal about it since he is from LA. But he also likes Oklahoma. He also liked the team. And this is why I personally do not like rumors. Why? Because it's not real. It could be, they say this, and then it turns into that, and then it's just a waste of time to me. If it's not official, I don't want to hear it. Paul George wants to stay with OKC. He has the agreement, and that's what we have. Maybe one day he'll join the Lakers. We don't know. What we do know is that he's staying in OKC this year. Now, I think this is really good for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's a small market. Small markets rarely ever attract really good talent. So they've been working really hard to retain the talent that they have by having Westbrook, and now following up with Paul George aggressively to make sure that they keep him, as now they will be going over the luxury tax. So I think this was a great move for them. However, even though Paul George had a great season, perhaps arguably his best defensive year, they got to work something out with how they work with the team, because they won 48 games, which sounds good. But the previous year, Russell Westbrook by himself won 47 games with his team. So adding Paul George and only getting 1 game better, it's not outstanding when you have 2 all-stars, maybe 3 if you include Carmelo Anthony. So it'll be interesting to see what pieces they add throughout the summer, and perhaps something they might do with coaching in order for this to be a really deep contending team that can threaten out west. So these are the official signings that caught me by surprise and that I think are win-win situations for the players. We just have to see how Paul George works with the OKC Thunder and see if they can build better chemistry and really have an elite force out there to get 50+ wins this year and get deeper in the playoffs. I'm going to be attaching a link for ESPN's My Journey, which has to do with Paul George and his process on making the decision that now eventually we know he made. So check that out. Thank you very much for your time. Let me know down below, what do you think about these agreements? Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I appreciate your time. See you in the next one.